Well, sanctions policies targeting rogue states risk being ineffective due to a lack of coordination between the European Union and the United States, as according to a new report from British analyst group, the Royal United Services Institute. Henry Ridgewell reports from London.
North Korea's recent test of an intercontinental ballistic missile prompted the United States to push for new sanctions against both Pyongyang and the foreign firms that Washington says provide it with an economic lifeline.
We intend to present these firms with a clear choice. You can do business with us or you can do business with North Korea, but you cannot do business with both.
The fragmented nature of international sanctions, enforced separately by the UN, the United States and the European Union, renders them less effective against Pyongyang, argues report author Emil Dahl.
It relies on a complex network of overseas front companies, shell companies, agents that are acting on behalf of the North Korean regime, people that are simply not captured on sanctions lists.
Dahl notes recent examples of effective coordination. It's 2 years since the so-called P5+1 countries, the United States, China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom plus Germany, signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action with Iran. That agreement saw some EU and US sanctions lifted in return for limits on Tehran's nuclear program. The United States and Europe have also implemented similar sanctions against Russian individuals and companies following Moscow's forceful takeover of Crimea and invasion of eastern Ukraine. But the nature of the European Union means targets are often able to evade sanctions.
You've got all member states who have to agree unanimously to imposing new sanctions. In the European Union, there is also the prospect of legal challenges in the European courts.
US sanctions are more adaptable as rogue states try to evade the measures.
The US is able to more rapidly put in place new measures and new designations that counteracts that. The solution is closer communication, both between the US and the EU on sanctions regimes, but it's also closer communication with the private sector. At the end of the day, the private sector is the implementer of sanctions.
Britain's EU exit complicates the picture. The report says London will be able to move more quickly in imposing and adapting sanctions outside the EU, but any measures will have less clout without European enforcement. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.